Hey guys, Azara here. This is my track breakdown of Dance Frenzy out now on Sight Records. Okay, so this is the project. It's if you've ever seen my projects before on YouTube, you might have seen that they're quite small. They look small, but they're actually like a lot going on. I really believe in less channels and sort of more like value in the channels. So just from looking at this, you'd be surprised if you heard the track how little channels there is. Actually 29 channels here. So how did it all begin? How did the inspiration come? I really like to get inspired before I make music, and usually it's not when I'm walking down the street, or usually it's when I hear something. So if I hear a sound or hear a sample, that's what gets me going in the studio, and usually that's in the studio. So I will be going through samples, kind of flicking through sounds, and I think I found this one to begin with off like an old CD pack from like the 90s CD packs. They're kind of going around at the moment, but I found one that's quite rare, and I chopped it up, and this is how it actually originally sounds. So it's just, and then from there I like to build a drum pattern. So when I got this sample, I just simply add in a basic kick drum. That's where I kind of really begin. So really simple, just again, it's basics and fundamentals for me personally. I like to find a good sound source. The good ingredients for me is very, very important. And if the kick drum is good, it's good. I'll put in, I will use that again in different tracks. I don't like to get like a tiny sound and make it into something really big. I like to just find a good sound from the beginning. It saves you time, stress, and energy as well. So this was a simple 909 kick drum. I then needed something else, and I was like, okay, I don't want to just build drums the whole time. I want to incorporate some extra elements. So before I did that, I just wanted to get the drums a little bit tighter, a bit better. So I love to use this from Roland Cloud. It's quite familiar. It's an 808 drum machine, and I use it all the time. That's how it sounds, like raw. And then what I did was I just made my own pattern, essentially. Okay, so then that is 95% of the drums. If you hear the track, you'll notice how the drums don't really change. I just bring in some new drum elements, which I don't want to bore you too much with the rest of the drums, but I just have some more open hats and more rides coming through. But essentially that's 90% of the drums. I think I just did some saturation here, and here's some EQ. Right, so then what do I do next, and what did I do? Well, I sort of went through again some sample digging, and I found a bit of an organ sound. Yeah, it's an organ, and I think it's actually a sample from somewhere. Yeah, it's a sample. I didn't write the organ from a chord or anything, but I had this kind of like finishing notes which were so cool. I just thought straight away, but unfortunately I had not a great starting point, so I kind of did a different starting point, and then ended with this lovely kind of response. So I kind of didn't have a call yet, but I kind of had the response, which is kind of unusual. Usually you kind of have the call then response, but here I had the kind of response first. So this is the bass. That's essentially it. I really like to think and kind of incorporate a kind of easy to consume melody. Can be really kind of, it can translate really well with people listening. It's not a complex melody in this case, and other tracks might be a bit different, but I didn't do any variations. It's just a straight organ bass melody. Now I felt like as well I was missing some low frequencies, so what I did was I made like an underlying sub bass. You probably can't hear this too well, but there's a small sub here which was missing. So I kind of just did that based off like a missing frequency, essentially. All together. So that's the groove. That's like the main groove was done, and I wrote some new layers on top of this groove, and I got this. Now, I don't know what it is. It's kind of like a whiny pad, string thing, chord. I don't even know, but it just came out of a VST. It was the Juno 106 from Roland Cloud. It's really cool. On its own, sounds quite naked and bare, but with everything in, it just adds this kind of weirdness, which I think was, you know, you make decisions on the fly, and it just felt like I just want to leave this in. But it wasn't adding to the core. It's just sort of a complementary sound, which I like to do them too. Okay, moving on. Kind of these like new drums which come in. I use a lot of Ableton's core kit. I just love it. Trusty, just really cool kind of parameters down here on the bottom left. I might have added more vintage actually looking back. It's a bit late now. Yeah, just 9/9 hat, very simple. I think if your track or your song is missing a kind of a really clear, distinct hat, I think it's fine, but I like to always incorporate some sort of open hat in my tracks. Right, now getting to the vocals. So, what are the vocals? What are they doing? I actually did like a bit of a duet, if you want to call it that. There's two different types of vocals living with each other. The first one is a vocoder vocal. I think I pitched it up. I added some effects, I think. Maybe I actually resampled it back into audio. That's probably why it looks bare. So this actually came very late in the track, but it came in. It came in kind of towards the end of making the record, and I think it added something, again, kind of weird, kind of unique. Okay, and I'm moving on to the other vocal, which is a... Let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go, let's go. It is just another one-shot phrase from some sort of old sample bank. Let's go, let's go. And then what I did was I played it back in. Back in again, like this. Very, very simple. It's quite dry actually, there's not much. What I've showed you here is 95% of everything. Quite simple. I like to go by kind of every 15 seconds, something has to happen in the track, or else it can get kind of, your ears can get used to elements too quick. So you can see how things here are dropping out quite drastically. So it comes in, drops out, stays in. This hat comes back in again. This comes in. I actually forgot that was in there. More like just a very subtle sound in here. So as you can see here, like things come in, things drop out, and that's, my opinion, a nice arrangement technique, is just to play with what you have and bring things in, bring these out at different times, unexpected times as well. It really works. So as we're moving along, there's not much new sounds that come in. It's quite, it's just, again, playing with that arrangement, playing with your ears, with taking things out. Yeah. So kind of an epic breakdown style here. I like to always bring in a brand new sound 2 or 3 minutes in, because your ears, again, have heard too much of the same sounds. So bringing in something new, whether it's a breakdown or something, I need to bring in something new, because yeah, gets a bit boring. So this is a chord played in. That's all this is. And then it's just this sort of like very quintessential breakdown, but I didn't actually like do a big hands in the air breakdown. I think it was very different. I think we hear a lot of this sort of like crazy snares and white noises, but here I just wanted to kind of just have it. Just sort of rise and then just land back in again. Kind of like a bit of an obvious sort of transition. There was no big surprises there. But simplicity works and wins always. And then just one more sound I forgot to leave out was the samples that I took. So I found this. Really cool. Obviously I can't use the full sample, or I didn't want to use much of it. I just want to use a tiny little bit where it's very actually subtle. So it's actually just a fill. It's just like, it's not even like a main hook or part of the track. It's just a subtle fill between transitions. And basically that is literally it. And then outro, some more transitional stuff, but nothing super new. Again, under 30 channels. And that's all I need. All right, guys, that was my track breakdown of Dance Frenzy, which is out now on Sight Records.